One. Bark Chicken Dinner presented by Splash Sports. The Super Bowl is all set. And Sammy, this is setting up like the year of the long shot. We already had Indiana win the college football playoff at 100-1. Seattle wins the NFC. We talked about them on Bet Sweats when they were 30-1. They were 28-1 before the season got started. And before the season, New England 30-1 to win the AFC. So both of those teams, long shots to win the Super Bowl. We're going to have another long shot winner here very early here to get things going.
I remember seeing 100-1 on the Patriots. Now, that wasn't out my way because I'm in Boston in the New England area, so they didn't have that out here. But some of the first numbers I saw in Vegas were 100. Those didn't last because Mike Vrabel has always sort of been a magnet for money. But I also remember 75-1 on Drake May for MVP, 100-1 on Sam Darnold for MVP. And we brought this up last week. Seattle had the worst odds in the entire division in the NFC West. I mean, making the playoffs wasn't even a conversation out there, yet they do it. We did not strike, and that prompted a question I saw. I don't know if you saw this.
I saw it. Believe me, I see it all.
It's a fair question from our guy Mike, who's been listening and watching a long time. Guys, curious question. Watching Seattle head to the big game got me thinking, which is worse? Capping a wager correctly and coming up short, like the Bills, or capping one correctly and not pulling the trigger like we did not on the Seahawks 30-1?
Okay, I've been through both. So have you. I would say capping it correctly and it coming up short, because once you make that wager, you're kind of married to it and you think about it constantly and you're hoping, okay, is this going to go my way? Is that going to go my way? And you feel you did everything right, but it's something that's completely out of your control. So I would say capping it correctly and just losing out in the end, Duke.
See,
you think this is worse? You think this is worse right now, this feeling you have about Seattle?
In back-to-back football seasons, we have handicapped Ohio State to beat Notre Dame before the playoff at 25-1 and Seattle to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl at 30-1. So when I do quick math, 30 plus 25, we left 55 units on the table each.
But you're forgetting one thing.
What's that?
We are not somebody that doesn't bet our plays, but what you can't bet everything you talk about when in our instance, when we were doing 3 hours a day, we were producing 15 hours of sports betting content. Everything that is discussed, you cannot bet. However, I would say that this is different because it wasn't just something that was thrown against the wall. It was something that was talked about a very good deal in both instances. So you're probably right. We left a good 50 on the floor. Didn't pick it up.
But here's the good thing. Because people listen, we try and walk you to the water. And then you have to decide at the end of the day, because we do talk about all these things, or at least we did when we had Bet Sweats, 5 days a week, 15 hours a week. You're talking about a lot of things. If we tickle somebody's fancy, they're going to bet it. And we've seen slips on Seattle to make the Super Bowl. We saw bets, and I've met people that have bet Ohio State over ND. So it's nice to be in the ballpark, but it'd be nicer to have that 30-1 ticket myself.
Yeah. 55 units. You know how many hoodies that buys?
A lot. A lot.
It's needed right now too, right? In these frigid, awful. So you're getting the snow too? Like, how bad is it out east?
Supposedly by the end of the day tomorrow, Monday night, there could be, and again, I always take the estimates with a grain of salt because it's the news and the news is there to terrify you for the most part. But I saw the biggest number on the projection, 24 inches of snow.
Oh God. Holy, that's way worse.
It's already 10. It's already 10. And I've done enough shoveling for a lifetime.
Oh, okay. You got that. We have the snowblower. I invested in that years back, and you know what's great? Yes, it's convenient. It's not as much heavy lifting, no back issues, especially if you have a big driveway like we do. But for some reason, my wife loves it. She's on top of it. I never I haven't done it in years.
Wow.
She's out there immediately, and she's watching the second the snow stops. She's out there. She'll go in the middle of it. Well, I got to get some of it out. You can't wait till the end. I'm like, I would wait, but okay, if you want to, have at it. So she likes doing that. I'm like, go ahead, have fun with it. But yeah, so I haven't dealt with that. Man, I thought it was going to be worse here. It's way worse by you, but it's been bad. The kids didn't go to school. They did e-learning on Friday. They already announced, yeah, that crap's over. We're going to school. It's so dumb. And, most of the teachers, when they pop on, they got to check, oh, it's 9 a.m. I got this class. Boom, you go on the Zoom. You know what they do? All right. The teacher goes, I don't believe in e-learning. Class dismissed. Boom. They're playing video games the entire day, but it's now e-learning. We got e-learning with COVID. Thank you very much.
I would not even attend. I know myself. I wouldn't be there.
They just pop on. You're like, okay, you're here. Okay, you're dismissed for most teachers.
Which reminds me of one of my favorite South Park episodes, the COVID episode, when Cartman's able to rig it. So he's like, his connection keeps going out. Then he's running around the house singing the 6 Feet song. Look what I bought, by the way, before we get into the meat of our show, which is the Super Bowl matchup that's already set and the line is already moving. Mm-hmm. Sharp move against one of the teams. You guess who it is. I bought this on Friday. It's a zebra cake rack.
Zebra? Wait, why?
Well, because I had to go to the grocery store because all the radio and TV in town is saying that this is going to be Snowmageddon. So I'm at the grocery store. Yeah, of course. And maybe it will be. Whatever. We're all going to survive. Mm-hmm. Knock on wood.
Well, most.
So I'm at the grocery store and I'm figuring, well, I might as well just load up. I like to go every 10 days for the most part. It's a fair number because you can get all you need and then you could hang through the weekend and then into early next week. So I saw these that they caught me at the beginning of the aisle and I'm like, ooh, I haven't had zebra cakes since I was a little girl. So I got this. Joe, there's 10 in the box. And yes. I purchased them Saturday morning. How many do you think are left?
Was that Saturday or Fatterday?
It was a much fatter Sunday because I kept patting myself on the back for the outdoor work, So I'll have another zebra cake. Why not?
Okay, we're 2 full days in. Have you had about close to 48 hours? Not even 48 hours.
Let's say I got back at 10 a.m. on Saturday. It's 10 p.m. on Sunday.
There are 3 left.
I think there's 4.
Oh, I was gonna go with 4. Damn it.
Dude, gone. Yeah. I mean, and it's so bad because we've been pretty good. I think both of us since getting back from the holiday gorging, and I think I've
been really good the last week.
I ate 2 of them. I'm showing them on screen right now. If you're watching on YouTube, I ate 2 of them in one bite.
You know what those aren't? Cosmic brownies. I knew something was on your mind when I go to Instagram and I see a notification from Sammy P. And it's a video of a woman talking about comparing cosmic brownies versus these cosmic brownies that are now in ice cream, which brought me back to the summer.
They're doing the oatmeal cream pie sandwich and the cosmic brownie sandwich because now everything has to be a part of an ice cream sandwich. And then I saw one of my favorite Instagram accounts. What's his name? Big Back Dre, I think. He's this large black man who just makes the most ridiculous stuff.
I could make that assumption.
He got a comment that said, what was your favorite candy as a kid? And he said, oh, it was Star Crunch. So he's at home on his kitchen island, leaning over it, making a Star Crunch ice cream Star Crunch sandwich.
Oh yeah.
And he enjoys it more than one should, I would say. But yeah, it's tough, when you don't have to do anything and you're around the house and football's on, sometimes you got to eat like 4 or 5 zebra cakes. It is what it is.
I hear you. Look at what showed up. Look at that.
Oh, we got the mug. Yeah.
Isn't
nice.
She beautiful? Yeah. I got the mug today. And then I guess my hoodie and t-shirt also ordered. I don't know why they're coming at separate times, but that is supposed to be here on Monday, the hoodie and the shirt. So looking forward to that.
We got so many people, and then we'll get into the games today, of course, because that's why we're here to talk betting. It started like Friday. There's my buddy Joey Cheese, who's an absolute lunatic, really solid college basketball handicapper. He's good at a lot of sports, but he got the purple one. So there's him right there. And again, if you're watching, I'll just kind of scroll through. Then this is my buddy Sweet Lips, who I've told you about, Big Keith. That is a 4X hoodie.
Oh,
4X.
I didn't know that was Sweet Lips. Okay.
Yeah. So Big Keith is the guy who goes to every Bears game, home and
4X?
away. Yep, 4X.
Holy mother.
And then I saw there's our guy Bulldog from WGR. He got the gray hoodie.
What's
We
that?
got one from our guy Al. I think Bulldog said it was a 3X. Al got a hoodie. This random picture on the feed, that's a picture that I took in Las Vegas.
The prop queen.
Here's Scott with a gray hoodie with the white chicken, very popular hoodie. And then I think the last one we got was from Benny out here in New Hampshire with his Patriots helmet on, as the Patriots are going back to the Super Bowl before Josh Allen ever made it there himself. Drake May and the Patriots are in the Super Bowl, of course.
Love it. Keep sending those picks. Twitter is at betchickendinner, and you can get the merch. Go to the Beacons page. We'll tell you about that. It's beacons.ai/chickendinner, and everything's there. The link to the YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and of course, the merch as well. If you're watching on YouTube, give us a thumbs up. Get in the comments as well. Sammy P will have a question for you guys. All right, let's jump into it. Enough wasting time. AFC, NFC, where do you want to begin?
Well, I mean, I think you're going to hear a lot of the hot take stuff because, you know, that's the Jones these days. Oh, that game sucked. Well, the game completely flipped in the second half when it started pouring snow from the heavens. Like,
there's weather. Like, what are you expecting?
What do you want? And then I thought, you know, a lot of the sideline broadcasting is, I think, a little overblown because the sideline people take themselves way too seriously and they try and tell this poetic, you know, story about how this happened or this happened. No, I thought Tracy Wolfson, when she stood in the snow and then rotated halfway and showed the difference between the way the snow was hitting her in the face, I'm like, wow, that was like, you learned a lot. And all she did was rotate, you know, into the other side of the field to show the way that the Patriots were going in that second half. And, you know, you're going to see a lot of this on social. Oh, well, the Patriots only had, you know, one scoring touchdown drive and it was 12 yards, but their defense was exceptional. And their defense took everything away. Now, the weather's going to help, but both teams are facing the elements. And how can we sit here? The Patriots are in the Super Bowl. Like, are you still that dumb where you think the Patriots are still lucky?
Are people doing that?
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
Oh,
this team still hasn't proven anything. Oh, because, you know, the Herbert thing, Herbert didn't have a line and Stroud sucked, and then they played a backup. Tom Brady never went to Denver and won an AFC championship. He was 0-3.
Look, you can poke holes if you want. The reality is they're playing in the Super Bowl, and they don't have to apologize for that to anybody.
Nope.
Yes, there are issues with the offenses of the teams they faced. But you know what, Sam? We can flip it on anybody. And I'm not sitting here with Patriots pom-poms. We are not that show. We haven't been that show all season. I don't think we're going to begin now. Now, when the number comes into play, that's a different conversation, which we'll get to coming up, and we'll talk about ad nauseum over the next couple of weeks. But, yes, Houston, offense was terrible. Stroud, pathetic. Chargers, issues as well. We saw it on Sunday. Now you're facing a backup quarterback. Is that lucky? Well, that's the way the ball bounces. They have no control over that. Whatever. I don't know. Do they win that game, Denver, if they have Bo Nix? I'm not quite sure. But how we flip it is those same teams, Chargers, Texans, Broncos, were those not three of the best defenses all year? And now they're going to play the Seattle Seahawks. So it might be 3 straight games where you're facing the best 3 defenses in the NFL. So yes, those teams happen to have a lot of issues on offense. The Seahawks don't have those same issues, but those are 3 phenomenal defenses that they took out.
And Drake May, I don't know if you saw much of the post-game conversation, but Drake May took that last play into his own hands. That was not something that was called. The play when he kept it and got the final first down, and then they started taking knees. That was all him. He didn't even tell the O-line he was going to do that. So that shows the poise and the confidence and the ability to get outside the boundary, run for that first down, and send the Patriots back to the Super Bowl. Stidham was fine early in the first, 15 to 20 minutes. And then all of a sudden, the Patriots started making adjustments to Stidham, and you knew that locomotive was going to run out of steam. But you never really thought Jarrett Stidham was going to be a guy who was going to throw for 2 or 3 touchdowns. I didn't, at least. The first drive they didn't score, right? Because they went like 3 and out, I think. They went run, and then I think incomplete. I didn't chart it, but I think the first drive, they didn't do anything. And then the second drive was when they went down the field and he threw the touchdown pass. But I never thought that they were going to win with offense. I thought Denver was going to cover 5.5 because of their defense and their O-line. And, I'll tell you what, a lot of times this year, you and I beat the market, and it didn't fucking matter. I mean, how many times did we take 6.5 and a game closed 4 or 3.5 and then lost by 2 touchdowns? This one was one of those old school moves, to use a term. We took 5.5, man, on the show, 5.5.
Yep.
And by kickoff, it's 3.5. Game lands 3, 10-7. Over never had a shot because of the elements. But a 10-7 rock fight. Look, you allow 10, you're going to cover 5.5 a whole lot.
Yeah, at the start of the fourth quarter, I was tweeting it out at Joe Ostrowski. I'm like, okay, here we are with the total. I think it was 26.5 at that point. Whatever it was, you would have needed 10 more points in that fourth quarter. Remember, the weather turned in the third quarter. So now we're seeing the weather, how they're dealing with it. They were having a lot of issues, both teams. Kickers had a lot of issues, misses on both sides. And I did play that, nothing crazy, just a normal play, and I put it out there. I'm like, do you guys really think there's 10 more points in this game? Outside of a turnover, I didn't see it, and we didn't get one more point in that game. In that fourth quarter, it goes scoreless. So if you were playing those live unders, Sam, I'm sure a lot of people were. Like, some people hit them like crazy. They'll go again and again and again. If you did, it's kind of like a massive ladder where you end up hitting all of those bets. Stidham, the Knicks debate. That's the reason that a lot of smarter bettors, sharper bettors, whatever you want to call it, respected money was on Denver. And that's the reason we were on it in the beginning. Like, there are a lot of different reasons to back it up, but in the end, we're like, look, Denver's the play. And no matter what number you got, it ended up covering. It was a little bit closer if you waited until the end. But in the end, the 2 back-breaking plays were Stidham. Is the interception that ended the game to Christian Gonzalez, and it was that shovel, I don't know what the hell you were trying to do, and then it sets up a score for New England, ends up being the difference in the game. 2 turnovers in this game, Stidham interception, Stidham fumble, which should have been a touchdown on that play, but the referees blew the whistle. John Murray put it, a lot of ref ball in that game. You had that play, and then, I'm sorry, overhead view, that was not a first down when May snuck it. I didn't see a first down. I thought that should have been a turnover on downs.
The spotting is horrible. And the problem with a poor spot is that there's never enough evidence to overturn said poor spot because the angles are so tight. You could look at a play on 3 different angles and think 3 different things. I guess maybe not 3 different because it's either he got it or he didn't. But if I watch 3 clips in a row, I could go from, oh, he got it. Oh, he didn't get it. Oh,
side angle looks different than the one up top, right?
Yeah, but when you have a brutal spot to begin with, and there were multiple times in that game, I just texted Murray, LOL, at one point, and he goes, "Gotta love refs," because like that, you're relying on morons to decide playoff games. You're relying on morons to get a call on the field right in Buffalo, Denver. And then the following day, it's the same exact play in LA, Chicago, but it's a different result. That said, though, like I stopped blaming the refs a long time ago for losing bets. And of course, a phantom foul in a college basketball game or a bad penalty or a technical foul or whatever, some of that stuff, a blown strike 3 call, like you could still lose because of that. But you have to understand, if you're making a sports wager, you're going to get affected in some way, shape, or form by a referee or an umpire. It's part of the game. And I hate people that Every time they lose, the refs, the league's rigged. No, it's not. And if it is, if you really think it is, stop gambling on it.
Yeah. If that's your argument, like I do think they got some stuff wrong, but I don't think it changed the outcome of the game because I agree with Mike Vrabel. Whether he said it or not, based on his actions, he didn't think the Broncos could score again. Now, once those elements are introduced against that Patriots defense, the way that they've played over the last month, yeah, I agree with them that they were not going to score no matter what. I mean, we saw it again and again. He was not scared. Sure, let's go punt it. We're not going for it because this team can't score. And now, even in the thin air, because of all this snow and the wind and the cold weather and all that, you can't kick here either. So they're screwed with Stidham. And that was clear by his actions, and he was dead on.
Yeah. Sean Payton, also an interesting game plan. It's snowing. You have a backup quarterback. Why are you throwing the ball 31 times in a game that never got more than one score away? You don't have to abandon the run. And they did. I saw the Bear tweet this out. It made me think, if this weather's coming, and I'm guessing, look, there had to be somebody on the staff in Denver that knew the forecast for the next 6 hours. If not, how? How do you not know?
You got to be tracking that by the minute. Yeah.
Okay. So if they had an idea that things were going to go relatively sideways weather-wise, how are you not kicking a field goal to go up 10-0? You're at home with that defense. It's 7-0. You go for it. Don't get it. And the play call was worse than the decision to go for it. I get Sean Payton is who Sean Payton is, but you start gambling early, and then that forces you to gamble late by having Jared Stidham drop back and throw the ball a ton. I thought that changed the entire direction of the game for Denver. You got a chance to go up 2 scores, and you don't.
Well, what he would say about the passing part of it, because I saw him say a little bit in some of the interviews post-game, was we couldn't run the ball, and he's right. Like, no Dobbins, that really hurt. Just going with Harvey, they didn't have much of a chance. And the Patriots are stout against the run to begin with, so they couldn't get that going. But, yeah, certainly fair. That kick was bad. I'll tell you, late man, I know you're desperate. You're trying to tie that game. Let's extend it. Let's give us a chance. Let's stop trailing. Who's making that kick from 46?
Yeah.
In that snow and wind?
Yeah, well, that's a good point, too. You don't kick the one to go up 10-0, but you kick the 50-yarder, give or take, in the snow.
Had no chance. So, yep, Patriots are going back. 8.5 was the win total, Sam. 30-1 to win the AFC. At the start of the season, it was 80-1 for the Super Bowl. And you're right. I was actually looking at it. If you go to April, it was 100. If you go to right after last year's Super Bowl, the Patriots were 125-1 to win the Super Bowl.
Holy cow. And I saw this tweet, an electric tweet, just on how much Mike Vrabel has meant to this franchise. Jamie Eisner, the Patriots since December 21st of last year, 2025. So just over a month ago, the Patriots have won as many games as the Titans have since firing Vrabel.
Oh, yeah, I believe that. That makes a lot of sense. Had to get rid of them. Okay. These egos, some of these owners just gets in the way. And like, we know this because we're in the betting world. That guy always exceeds expectations. Why? Because we know he covers a spread. When he's an underdog, you want to bet on Vrabel. Like, guys like that, you want in your corner. They do better than they're expected to do. Yep. Nope, not good enough for the Titans.
Well,
how's that going?
I'm happy, though, that the Patriots did not cover today because we had Denver and talked about it on multiple platforms this week. I know we both did, and gave that one to Dan Patrick and company, which we'll talk about later in the show. Shay and Irving, very excited about the Broncos covering. We got 4.5, though, because by the time we got to the Dan show, it was down to 4.5. Patriots now 15-5 ATS heading into the Super Bowl. So they were 15-4, did not cover today. Broncos do not win, but Broncos cover. Game stays under the total. The other thing we talked about, I don't remember if you got there on a side or a total in the game, but we did. We spent 10 minutes talking about teasers and all the different prices. And we had people sending us DMs and emails and stuff like that about prices, and some books still have -120. Others are -130. Some have -150. But the teaser du jour today was both dogs up. And I felt like we both envisioned part 3 being close between Seattle and LA. There were times I didn't think the Rams were going to cover 8.5, but they do get there. Not really this great finish because of all the clock running out and everything like that. But the Rams do stay inside the teaser. The Seahawks covered the game straight, though.
You were on that. You were on that earlier in the week, and it was a great call. And there's no sweat. There was no sweat in that one at all. Great call by you. I don't know that you saw 17 points being scored in one of the games. Let's tease the dog. I don't think anybody saw that one. But, yeah, and the second game, the NFC Championship, high-scoring affair. The over 46 hits with 5 minutes left in the third quarter. That third quarter was bonkers. A shootout there. Seahawks cover as a short favorite. It closes. I saw -2. The total came down a little bit throughout the week, and then it shoots over. So Seahawks and the over 58 points scored in this game. Man. Okay, we got to stop the questions about Sam Darnold. You got to stop it now. Last year was great with the Vikings, and then I heard, well, what about the playoffs, how the season ended? Completely laid an egg. Okay, fine. Well, he dominated the regular season again. And then, even I talked about this a little bit. He didn't have to do anything against San Francisco last week. Kickoff return for a touchdown to start the game. Kenneth Walker, 3 rushing touchdowns. He didn't have to do much. They didn't throw the ball much. The argument's officially dead. It's dead when you make the Super Bowl and you throw for over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions against the LA Rams in the NFC Championship. The questions about Darnold at this point have all been answered, have they not?
I think so. There will still be people waiting at the bottom of the hill, though, if he flames out in the Super Bowl, because that's how the internet works and that's how miserable people act. They were very aggressive with the game on the line, though, late in that fourth quarter. Well, we're going to keep the ball in his hands. Conventional wisdom's like run the ball, melt the clock. No, it's third down. They're rolling him out. He's throwing lasers. I thought the game plan was really, really good on the Seattle side. And, Sean McVay always gets all the credit for being this schematical wizard and calling plays and the chain of events. Kubiak was awesome for Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. And, they run the ball 26 times. They threw it 36. But of those 36 pass plays, I think a lot of those were on play action. I don't have the number in front of me, but there were a lot of times when you maybe thought they were going to run and the defense was fooled. So if you can keep having the defense bite on the fake, then let's hit JSN for 7 yards or hit, a Cooper Kupp for 5 yards. JSN had 12 targets, 10 for $153 and a score. Also, if you were fading Puka Nacua like I was,
oh boy,
I had some under there. Well, there was the sequence when I don't know what Reek Woolen was up to. He had on back-to-back plays. The Seahawks are about to get off the field on fourth down, and he gets an unsportsmanlike for literally barking at the Rams. Like, that's going to get you a flag. And then the very next play, I love that they went right back at him and hit him on the touchdown to Nacua. That's the one that got Puka over the total, and then he had a couple catches late in the fourth quarter when the Rams were trying to go down the field. I think he had 2 catches on that final drive that stacked his stats. But I was never going to win that bet. I got 95.5.
It didn't matter.
And he finishes, 165. I mean, that's just not a good bet on my end there.
The number 1 receivers went off for each side. It was a shootout. That's what we had. And so what? The quarterbacks balled out, and their number 1 receivers were great. That third quarter I mentioned, touchdown, 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 touchdown. Boom. 4 touchdowns in a row. So just like in the regular season, when Seattle beat the LA Rams, they were outgained. The Rams outgained them by a lot. They had almost 500 yards of offense. They had 8.3 yards per play. You know the difference? Special teams.
Yeah, the Rams again.
Punt return fumble, starts falling down as the ball's about to go into the breadbasket. And then the next play, let's go to my guy, Jake Bobo. Touchdown. Boom. 7-point fumble right there. The difference in the game.
No doubt. 31-27. 58 total points, which I think it may have taken the Broncos and Patriots 2 days to get there because they only had 17. Easy over if you had it. I know a lot of people were kind of jamming some over in. This thing climbed as we got closer to kickoff, and Seattle covers the 2.5, 31-27. But the Rams do cover on that teaser side of things. And that brings us to, I mean, we might as well get here. That brings us to the Super Bowl. Super Bowl 60, February 8th, as we show you the screen on Odds Logic. Now, understand this current market is not what it opened. We see a ton of 4.5 and 5. DraftKings and FanDuel, because they don't have to wait for rotation numbers, they open first. And I saw Todd Furman tweet this out, who does some stuff with FanDuel now, and he put up that FanDuel just opened 3.5. Well, so did DK. Seattle favored 3.5. And I even texted him, that feels a little cheap. And he's like, yeah, we'll see. There was a blitz, man. I mean, look at the board now. We see 4.5 at Westgate. Now, they opened 4. A couple other books opened 4.5, but we see 5. There's a 5 here at Chris, a 5 at Pinnacle, a 5 at Circa, even MGM at 5, Paradise, Bet Online, Buckeye Jazz, all at 5. That doesn't mean the market is settled. It just means that the first move is either pro-Seattle or anti-New England, or maybe a combination of the two.
Yeah, if you're going to question New England and you're going to say they're the luckiest team ever, all right, go up to the window. You can go bet on Seattle. You like Seattle, go ahead. Take them in the game. Total is 46, right? Would you say that's the consensus?
Yeah, 46.5 at a couple places, but there's also some 45.5. Let's just call it 46 to be fair.
Okay. Yep. There you go. How about this? Drake May, Sam Darnold. That is your Super Bowl. First year with the Patriots, Mike Vrabel. Second year with the Seahawks, Mike McDonald. Man, it's fascinating. You got a young quarterback. You've got a very young coach in McDonald getting it done in just a second year. You see why there are a lot of teams that made changes because they see all these new situations. Like after a while, if it's not happening, if it's not going to work, why do you think it's suddenly going to change? And that's why the Bills made their move with McDermott. I think that's a big part of it, Sam. And teams are looking, and Benton Johnson made a deep run with the Bears. You had the Jaguars here, and what they were able to do. Like this is happening throughout this league, this new wave of coaches having a lot of success early on. So there are a lot of teams still hunting for their guy to be able to make a deep run in the postseason.
No doubt. We shall see how those cookies all crumble and how they get put back together with different staffs and all that. Here's the move, though. I mean, this is how it started, at least at Chris. Opened 4.5, and then within a minute at 10:04 p.m. Eastern, bam, they went to 5. And then in that same minute, about 35 seconds later, boom, they go to 5.5. Then some people took some 5.5 and took some 5, but the 4.5s got pushed back to 5. So clearly the sharper support on the Seahawks at smaller numbers. We shall see how that shakes out. I can tell you, I know a couple people that are going to eventually bet on New England. And these were guys that were, as they told me, looking to get 4. So if you get to 5, 5.5, I mean, 5.5 got popped as we just showed you on the screen. But there will be some support for New England because as we laid out earlier, in 20 games this year, they've covered 15 of them. And now you get them as a dog. A lot of those games, they were favored because they were the number 2 seed in the conference. They were favored against the Chargers. They were favored against the Texans. They were favored in this game. So now you get them catching points. And I think that will be enticing to some people who, let's just say, know what they're doing at this racket.
All right. So that brings us early on. We'll break this down more later in the week. And of course, next week, so much to cover. I love the lead up to this, and we're going to have all sorts of different angles every show moving forward until we get to the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl MVP odds. So you know what this means. Sam, who's the Super Bowl favorite?
Well, that would be Seattle.
Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold is your Super Bowl MVP favorite. The Blue Book has plus 130. And of course, the other quarterback is the second favorite, Drake May, at plus 230. JSN, 5-1. He's third on the list. Kenneth Walker plus 750. Ramondre Stevenson, he's a bit of a long shot there as the fifth guy being mentioned, 30-1. How about that? He got all of the share today. He had 25 carries. Like, it's Vrabel just like, look, Henderson, you're awesome. You're talented. We like you. This is the guy we trust right now. We don't want some rookie coming in here, going against this defense and losing our chance at a Super Bowl. So there you are on the Super Bowl odds, Sam.
I think I Serbian middled myself. Not really, but I wanted to say that because as you were talking about.
Is that like a Polish middle?
Yeah, only I'm Serbian, so I did it to myself because as dumb as this might sound, I did have Puka under today, but I bet Puka to win MVP of the Super Bowl at 17-1 because my handicap was, and we did talk about this on Dan's show. I said, if Puka gets in, he's going to be 4 or 5-1.
Yeah. I
had the right idea. I just had the wrong guy and the wrong team. I was like, whichever number one gets in is what I should have said. But no, I aligned with Puka because I knew that if the Rams made it in, they'd obviously be favored and he would not be 17-1. DK, I think, had a 15 and they're sponsored by DK. So we use 15. But that was sort of my thought process. Whichever NFC number one receiver got in was going to be the third favorite. This time last year, we're talking about Mahomes is the favorite, then Hurts, then Barkley, right? So quarterback, running back. This year it's quarterback, wide receiver, which speaks to the volume you're probably going to see on JSN.
All right, I have 4 live Super Bowl MVP losers. Are you none are on the offensive line.
I was going to say, how many guys? Well, I didn't think you would stoop that low. Yeah, I don't think you have any kickers either. Do you have 1 or 2 defensive players? 3, 4?
3 out of 4. 3 out of 4 on defense. So that's why I say they're losers.
These are definitely losers. You'll get a good number, though.
Okay, I do have JSN at 18.
Oh, you bet it going into the weekend. Good for you.
Yeah, I got JS. That may have been 2 weeks ago. JSN at 18. And then our here's your defensive players. The funny thing is, I don't even know that the numbers are that different. All right, DeMarcus Lawrence, 150-1.
Okay. I see 125 now, yeah.
Yeah, the Bulldog special. You see him? I
see him at 100. Well, I have a piece. I have a piece of that at 500-1.
That's what I got. I got 500-1 as well. And when there was a turnover on downs, did you happen to notice who was in on the play? 3rd down and 4th down when the Rams did not score deep into the red zone.
Number 3.
Witherspoon.
Oh, Witherspoon. Oh, I thought it was him. But Amenwari had a big stop.
Well, he broke up that 4th down play in the end zone, Witherspoon.
Oh, okay.
I think he was in on the other one.
You okey doke me. I got set up there.
750-1 for Witherspoon. Horvey brought that up. And I was like, well, you can't just put this out there and then I not bet it at 750-1. So I had to bet that.
Okay. So that's 150-1 now. As we go down the board, I'm looking, in case you were wondering, Boragalis, the Patriots kicker, is 300-1. And Jason Myers is 100-1. So a nice drop off there. So if you think the Patriots... If you think the Patriots are going to win 15-12, maybe you sprinkle that Boragalis at 300-1. I would not bet this market. What I would do is probably I don't know, Shaheed maybe. But even at 40, I don't love that price. I was hoping to get 60-1 on Shaheed. He's number 6. He's got shorter odds than Diggs.
I mean, it falls off the table after the top 4 guys.
Yeah, what does Cooper Kupp have to do? He just doesn't get the ball enough.
No,
he doesn't.
It's JSN. He's going to get the targets.
If the Patriots win, though, is it not a lower scoring game? Like I mean, I could see some of these Patriot guys. Milton Williams at 200-1 is interesting. Christian Gonzalez at 200-1 with a pick 6 or something like that. If I was looking for a Patriot, I would be looking defense because of the prices. There's your guy. Did you give any thought to Travion Henderson at 150 to 1?
I did not.
Yeah, because Rabel won't give him the ball.
Yeah.
Rabel's like, no, you stay right there, sir. You stay right there on the bench. We don't need you.
Is he going to get it in the Super Bowl? If he's not getting it in the conference championship game, I would say not.
One of these teams, too, before I forget, I'm going to write this down. We're going to have so many days to break this game down, and we're going to do a handful of shows. I was texting with the guys at the Westgate. They're going to put their packet out early this year, by the way, Wednesday night. So I think we should maybe do a show Wednesday in the Thursday, like we've been doing. We found a nice little rhythm here during football with Sunday night, Monday morning show, and then a Wednesday night, Thursday morning show. If the Westgate's going to put that 35-page packet out Wednesday night, we can get our hands on it early, and you and I can go through it with a pen or a marker and do what we used to do back in the day.
They're doing that this week?
Yeah, they always do it the week before, but they had done it on Thursdays. They would put it out 9 p.m. Pacific.
They're working on them right now. They're working on those numbers right now.
Well, it's easier to do because you have automated systems now. They used to do it all by hand back in the day. And there's sort of like there's a formula now that really helps them do a lot of that stuff. So that's not to say there's no tinkering to go on. But the reason I brought up the props, I know for a fact, and I want to write this down before I forget my train of thought. I think there's definitely going to be 2.5 guys to throw a pass in the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Like that's a prop every year. They put 2.5, they juice the under. But I think between Kubiak and McDaniels, you're going to get a third passer, whether it's a fake, if a punter throws a pass, wide receiver, running back. I already know I'm going to have that bet this year for sure.
Okay, good. If you are watching on YouTube, give us a thumbs up. We appreciate it. Jump in the comments with your thoughts on anything that we're discussing. Spotify, we love the comments on the episodes. Somebody thought we were jinxing the Broncos. I saw that on the last episode. Nope, we're just fine. We didn't end up jinxing the Broncos. I want to hear about your trip to Connecticut, but a couple other quick NFL things I just wanted to squeeze in, like quick hitters. Just get your thoughts, because I think it's worthy of like a minute or two of attention.
Okay.
What the fuck are the Steelers doing?
Oh, McCarthy.
Yes. Yes. Mike McCarthy's the head coach. This is the organization that you get hired, you're there 15 to 20 years. That's what happened. Tomlin was there 18 years. Vic Cowher was there 14 years. Chuck Noll there forever. And they're hunting, and I don't think this is an Aaron Rodgers play. It shouldn't be an Aaron Rodgers play. We spent an episode talking about how he needs to be done at this point, and I talked about it with Horvey as well. This is not a long play at all. I just don't know what they're doing, and it feels like they were just at a loss. I don't view this as an upgrade from Mike Tomlin. I was cool with the Tomlin move, but I don't think they made a better move.
It's funny because if you put the two resumes side by side, they're very, very similar in terms of regular season win percentage, making the playoffs, not being all that successful in the playoffs, but having a Super Bowl trophy. The resumes are very similar. I know because we did that on Bear Bets this year. It's like, well, if you line up Tomlin and McCarthy, there's a lot of things that are very, very
just offense instead of defense.
Right, but the results are very similar in the sense that they were usually on the precipice of being a playoff team, going to get in, maybe win a game, not be good enough to go all the way, but good enough to get the fan base excited to go back to the playoffs next year and eventually lose in the first or second round. So we'll see. I love X for moments like that. I saw one Steelers fan put out, "This is like shitting your pants, but only changing your shirt."
It's so bad, dude. They're freaking out. I would freak out too. I'd be very upset.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. The retreads, whether it be in coaching or radio, I've had enough.
Yeah, I hear you. The Buffalo Bills. I strongly believe that it should be the most coveted job. But the problem is now everybody knows you have a dumb owner. So, but you have the best quarterback in the world right now, or I mean, of the ones with jobs available, it wasn't close. Like usually you don't get a job where you have a quarterback of this level. And I'm tracking it day after day, and every day they're interviewing somebody else. Yesterday was Anthony Lynn.
Oh,
A few days ago, it was Phillip Rivers.
yeah.
Like, I repeat the question, what the fuck are the Bills doing?
Is Marv Levy available, Joe? Maybe they run it back with Marv at 100. What do you think?
Whew, he's spry. He's always been spry for his age, but
hey, he got him there. He got him there a bunch.
Yeah, I know.
Maybe that'll reinvigorate the locker room. Bring in Marv Levy.
I do believe in conducting interviews and getting information, getting smart ideas, and applying it to your organization if you think it's worthy. I get that. And the betting markets are like, look, it's probably going to be Dayball, maybe Joe Brady, possibly Davis Webb. I understand that, but it just looks like a clown convention over the past week with some of the names that they're interviewing for this job. Guys, you can't bring it. I don't know how you have Josh Allen as your quarterback and you even ponder bringing in a defensive-minded head coach after getting rid of McDermott.
And then Joe Brady is sitting there. Hey, I'm over here. It wasn't my fault. We lost to the Broncos. We put up points. We put up yards. We had 30 first downs, give or take. We turned the ball over 5 times and still put up all of that. So I think he thinks he should get a shot, and he probably should. You might as well keep him in the family, because if you don't hire Joe Brady probably leaves. No?
Yeah, he's gone.
You bring in Anthony Lynn, and then Joe Brady's got to report to Anthony Lynn, and it's uncomfortable. It becomes weird. So I don't know. I know for a fact I will not be on the Bills this next year. And I think they were hoping deep down, if they could have done things a little bit differently, they would have loved John Harbaugh to just hang on just a little bit longer and bring him into Buffalo. But that happened so fast with New York that there's nothing you can do. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what the Steelers are doing. It's very funny from the outside.
Yes, it is. Yeah, Lou Anarumo, defensive guy, Anthony Weaver. They interviewed both of them too. I'm like, okay, I hope they make
Anarumo. Good Lord.
He was hot for 1 year a few years back. Like, okay, he was fine with the Colts this past year, but no, not interested. Oh, we were talking earlier about bets we didn't make. I've got one for you.
Mm-hmm.
So Barry Rosner was texting me before the American Express this weekend. Here's the guys I bet. Gave me some long shots. This is a tournament where a lot of long shots have hit in the past. And he's like, and you know what else? I know he's a favorite. I know the number sucks. He's like, just take Scheffler and pair him with every major. I thought about it, and I'm looking at the numbers. It's first off, it's hard to find a book, but there are a couple of domestic books that will allow you to parlay golf tournaments. And the ones I found were 19-1, 20-1. That's not a good enough number for me.
No,
19-1, not good enough. Scheffler wins by 4 strokes, the Amex, and it was clear after day one that he was going to end up winning that tournament. So there's another miss by me. Getting into golf season, it's been fun to watch the little that I have, but Scheffler, dude, nothing's changed on that front. He's just leaps and bounds better than anybody else on the tour.
There's a couple markets, and I'm sure you don't get the greatest price, but there's a couple different ways where you can bet Scheffler to win 2 majors or 3 or 4 if you're feeling freaky, which I don't think I would ever bet, because I know the price isn't going to be fair. He's like 5-1 to win a given major. So I can only imagine the shave that they give that beard. I mean, you probably should be getting A, and then they give you half of A to do the 4-peat or whatever. So 20-1, that was this weekend with Augusta, this weekend with PGA, this weekend individually, right? Like
correct.
1-1. Okay. Correct. And they were all about 20-1.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, the good news is you could still do that, because the Masters, we still have 2.5 months, give or take. The issue is that he won this weekend. It's like you would have already been
now I'm chasing
home.
that.
Yeah, I know.
It's not easy to win a golf tournament with a field of any size. And even though it wasn't the most talented field this past weekend, I still think that's a big ask. But my dumb ass, and I was texting with Roz about it. I'm like, no, I didn't do it. He's like, there will be other opportunities. And he's like, I'll let you know if I'm feeling it. But I'm like, I should have just you add Seahawks Super Bowl on that, right? Oh, you feel a lot better.
Jake sent me a ticket.
Speaking
of tickets, Jake sent me something, and we got a comment too on YouTube that has the most likes maybe of any YouTube comment ever.
Yeah.
When is Jake coming back on the show? Jake has a 4-leg parlay. It is plus 719,900. So 7,200 to 1.
Okay.
Smith and Jigba MVP. Texas to win the College World Series. Bryce Eldridge, whoever that is, to win the National League Rookie of the Year. And Scheffler to win the Masters. $10 pays 72,000.
The Super Bowl MVP or the MVP of the
Super Bowl MVP. Sorry.
Oh, that could have legs. Could have legs.
Well, the parlay literally has 4 legs.
So a lot of legs.
It has legs there. I love these random rookies. Bryce Eldridge. I have no idea who that is.
I was looking at my pending wagers and I was like, oh, that's right. I'm like, wait, when did that happen? Oh, it was during Lightning Bets, and Jake told us to bet Max Clark to win an award at 100 to 1 before we lose the number. I'm like, oh, I forgot I bet that. So yeah, we got to get Jake on soon.
We should. He's doing a lot of sub stacking these days, I see.
Yeah, I saw him post a video and he's bleeping himself out like, ooh, you're not going to see the name that I said here. This is going to lure you in. I thought it was very interesting. A good move. We should get Jake on. I'm glad he's doing stuff and he's not just kind of quitting on things.
We'll see.
He's not a yeller.
We'll see how long.
Well, sometimes he is a yeller and a screamer. So I wonder if he's going to go down that road. We'll find out. Tell me about your trip. Tell people where you went if they don't recall you saying on the show last week. How was your trip? How quick was it? And how enjoyable was it?
I left Boston at 9:15 a.m. That's when the train left South Station. And I get off in New Haven. And Dan Patrick's studio is 15 minutes away. And I've done it before. But this was the first time that I decided to take a train down there and a train back in the same day, mind you. Because I used to just drive down. I've been down to the studio 3 or 4 times now. Because I live close enough. I can get down there. It's a lot better in person. And the guys appreciate when I come down. So I get off the train and I walk to the entrance. And who's sitting there waiting for me, smoking a square, hanging out of his window? Shay and Irving. That motherfucker.
Pinky ring?
Yeah, he had the pinky ring.
He seriously did. This guy's
yeah, I think so. He had the chain, the necklace. He was looking good. He had a fresh haircut. He was excited. I was excited. And then went to the liquor store. I got some things picked out. I brought some booze in, brought some Jameson in. And then they decided, I got the text from Ray and Dylan, who are his producers on the show. Ray says, hey, we're going to do a New Haven pizza contest.
Okay.
So they got 4 different restaurants to send in pizza. So we're taste testing New Haven style pizza and talking about Championship Sunday and going around the horn. And it's I mean, you've heard the show. It's so random and things just exit ramp and then entrance ramp back on. And there's a huge cast of characters and Bad Larry's on the phone in New Jersey or whatever. And I end up on Denver and I end up giving him the teaser, which was cool. Nice. And then I did, things tend to go off the rails and we always try and keep it to betting. We started talking about Oscars odds. Dan's a big movie guy. And then I just decided, hey, Dan, if Michael and LeBron played 1-on-1 to 21, what's the line? And you could see he's really thinking about it, because he's sort of on the spot. It's not a big deal. What do you think he said? Who's favored and by how much?
Well, I saw the clip, so I'm kind of cheating.
Damn. Okay.
They put it out there.
Were you surprised that he said MJ by 3?
So he was making the line. Remind me, he was making the line. He was not making a pick, right? Because in my mind, when I'm watching the clip, in my mind, I was going over what my pick was, and we could talk about it.
The way that I shaped it was, if you were booking bets, what would your line be? And Dan understands the racket. He used to bet a lot back in the day, and he no longer does. But he said he felt a fair line on both sides was MJ -3 against.
This is a game of 21.
Yeah, which then Dan brought up. Well, does it make it take it? And I said, I don't. It can be if you want it. You want it to be make it take it. We could.
Oh, you can't have. Damn, if it's make it take it. Yeah, who's getting the ball first? That's a big advantage.
There's going to be a lot of scoring. I think, conventional wisdom is that, LeBron is so big and strong, but he's also mentally weak. So at their primes, I would find myself with a substantial wager on Jordan -3.
I would take LeBron as a dog.
Yeah, you take 3?
Yeah. I would take 3 just because, okay, bigger, faster, stronger, better on the defensive end. That's what I have in LeBron, and I'm getting 3. At least 3. Because I know you guys talked about even a high. Do we go, you had the hook? Do you go to 4? In a game to 21, yeah, I would take the dog, and I think I have a chance at winning.
I think
Jordan
would have him crying uncle the whole time. I mean, Jordan would just fundamental him to death, get him in the post. That's what I think. I even told
him I was the shit talking. That's what I would want to hear.
Yeah, well, Michael would break him with that too. So I said I was willing to lay 4.5. I would maybe what would the kids say? I would alt that up. And you're probably thinking, oh, I'll take LeBron on the money line, huh?
Yeah, probably would. In his prime. In his prime. Like, I just think he would just bulldoze his ass.
Yeah, well, if I get 92 or 93, Mike, I get the high-flying Mike. If I get 96, 7, 8, Mike, I get the all-around complete game Mike, who was also a very good defender. LeBron's bigger. I don't know that he's better. I don't know that he's faster.
This is not a statement on who the better basketball player is, by the way.
Correct.
I'm talking,
we're talking one-on-one.
Yes. A very different situation where size does come into play. How about that? Did you see that late last week? Like, Jeannie Buss is sick of his shit. Like, she's
shocker.
Yeah.
He's a diva who doesn't win.
You usually don't hear it from the owner, though.
True.
For that to come out.
Unless you go to Buffalo.
Oh my God, what an idiot.
And he's in the locker room crying with the quarterback after the game. So that came up, and because I've done stuff like that for Fox. We used to do some hypotheticals that they really liked. And I remember the big story that I wrote I'm the most proud of is when I did the Rocky against Drago. What's the price? And that did bonkers numbers. And I told Shay, eventually I want to do like King Kong against Godzilla.
Well, we were talking about it too. Yeah.
Well, that's where it comes from. I really want to do humans against robots. I think that would be really, really fun. You just gotta find the bookmakers to play ball. Some of them are going to be like, I don't have time for this. You have to ask them the right questions at the right time.
Can't bother them now. Don't do it now.
If I called somebody on Tuesday and said, as Super Bowl props are being built and bets are being placed, hey, Jim, what do you got on King Kong Godzilla? Click, and then it's not a good relationship for a while because they don't want to deal with that. That's a post-football story. But, I mean, who better? Dan covered Michael, and he's seen LeBron's entire career. I felt like that was a pretty decent question to ask somebody who's seen them both wire to wire. And when he said Michael 3.5, I was like, oh, all right, there we go. I'm sure they'll clip that, and they did.
Yep.
After the show, Dan gets out of there. He's got his dog with him, and he takes off. And then it's me, Shay, Dylan, and Ray, and we go to this hole-in-the-wall bar because Shay doesn't want to be seen in public. So who
does he think he is? Like, seriously.
Well, I mean, he does a lot of business locally, so maybe he doesn't want to be seen, playing 4 hands of Keno or turn.
Okay.
At the bar we're at, and then we're throwing dice or not throwing dice. I wish we had dice. We're throwing darts and shooting pool. And then he brought me back to the bar by the airport where nobody knows anybody, if you know what I'm saying, right?
Uh-huh.
So, yeah. And then I got back to the train at 7:45, got home by 10 o'clock.
Damn. All right. And then now you're here dealing with the weather. Well, the entire country is.
Yeah.
Been brutal. All right, cool. Good. Any plans for, well, the Super Bowl week? They'll be out in California, obviously.
Yeah. I'm trying to get them to commit to a March Madness trip because I am going to go to Vegas March 18 to 21.
Yeah, I saw that on Twitter. I was like, oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's Big Dan's bachelor party. So
Okay.
I was going to that to begin with, and the dates were finalized, and that just so happens to be the first weekend. So I'll be out there. Maybe we can convince you to get out there. We can do some video content with the books.
What day is the 18th? Is the 18th the day one? What is that?
The 18th, it's either Wednesday or Thursday. I know that. I fly in on the 18th. That's a Wednesday. So I'll wake up there Thursday morning and do Thursday, Friday.
I'm sure you'll be sober after St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, the older I get, I care less about St. Patrick's Day.
Is it a big thing over there in Boston or no?
It is. But I mean, I've done it my whole life in Chicago, so it's nothing crazy. Exactly. If we could replicate that day we did in Vegas when we were at the South Point at 9:30, sucking down bloodies. Oh, what a day! Imagine the crew following us around with a camera that day.
Who was there? I mean, obviously Sherapan, which is the first thing that comes to mind. But Corby was there all day.
Allenberg,
yeah. There was a part of the day Wes Reynolds was there. I remember him earlier in the day when we were sucking down bloodies and getting hot dogs over at the South Point.
Humans had to be there at some point.
Yeah. Oh man.
I mean, there were 10 or 15 of us at the Westgate, and then we end up going to dinner and all that. But that's where I want to be. The issue is we can't really do, and I was explaining this to somebody the other day. I hate doing March Madness content that isn't live because there's no shelf life.
It's dead.
Yeah, we do a show, we tape a show Wednesday night. It's dead by the time the games tip off Thursday because nobody in their right mind is going to watch a show when the games are on.
Nope.
So
it's tough.
It would have to be a chicken dinner does March Madness where we'd be hanging out and, sitting in the book and all that kind of stuff. But again, this is such a last minute thing going into March of 26. Maybe it's more of a big picture thing for 27. But yeah, I'll be there for sure. 18 to 21 March.
I just realized, I think yesterday, I was like, holy shit, I'm going to Mexico in 2 weeks. Like a couple days after the Super Bowl. We're going to do a post Super Bowl episode the day after. And then I think the next day I'm going to be gone. So yeah, a lot of traveling. Well-deserved travel for both of us coming up.
For sure. I wish you got your foot done. I wish you had that foot surgery before, because if your foot goes south in Mexico, man,
there could be a problem. Oh man.
Yeah.
Okay. We are presented by Splash Sports. Give Quick Picks a try on splashsports.com and the Splash Sports app. Use our promo code DINNER. New users will receive a $50 deposit match. So Quick Picks, they're prop bets. You're betting them anyways. So just check it out over at Splash Sports. Support the show. Support the company that is supporting the show. If it's your first Quick Pick slip, you get a 100% profit boost. Promo code DINNER, splashsports.com. Before we get out of here, did want to address one other thing. Awful news that struck the industry, especially if you're in Chicago. And this will relate to, I think, a lot of other people that have picked this up that live throughout the country and have no idea what 670 the score is when I reference it. And it's referenced because, I mean, that's how I ended up getting the job for Bet Sweats, and that's how me. It's basically like that's where I spent most of my career. Before I go into just my thoughts on the great Terry Boers, who passed away on Friday, just awful news. Was not expecting to see that. Did you ever meet Terry in person? Did you get to know him in any way?
No, I never met him in person, only as somebody who listened to his show. And I used to, when I would drive to Columbia, I'd be in the car a ton. And then I would often, between classes, say I had class 9 to noon, I'd have another class noon to 3, and then I'd go home. So I'd be listening to 670 from 3 until 4, or sometimes 4:15. If I went to go see a friend, it was even longer. So I was in the car with them a ton. 2010, 2011, 2012. I listened a ton. And every time I hear the name James Brown, I think, wow! And I think about Terry making his noises and calling people a pudwhack. And I forget, was it Offman or Ranji during an update? Was
probably Ranji. Probably Ranji.
Somebody couldn't read something, and Boers clearly was not having a good day. He's like, "Oh, spit it out, you sputtering bitch."
Oh, that was Matt Rodewald. Which makes it even better.
It's even funnier. Oh, man. So, no, I only know Terry as somebody who listened to Boers and Bernstein in my early 20s when I was trying to crack into radio. And let's put it this way. Pre-Penn State, that's one of the best radio shows in the country.
That's funny you say that about Columbia, because I was actually thinking about that, because we both went to Columbia. We went at different times. Columbia College of downtown Chicago, big broadcasting school. And at least when we went there, what was really cool about it is all the teachers are people that work in the industry, that skins on the wall, have made big accomplishments. So it's cool. Like, they're giving you the real deal. It's not somebody who used to have a job and now they don't have a job in the business anymore, so now they're deciding to teach. No, it's people that actually work in the business, and we're talking about the third market in the country. And I say that it's funny because I would have time to kill as well. And sometimes you can't get your classes back to back and you'd have a couple hours. I would be walking around downtown listening to Boers and Bernstein. And I think at that time they were on earlier, 8 a.m. to noon, but I would be doing the exact same thing because I was absolutely hooked on that show. Unfortunately, Terry passed away on Friday at the age of 75. And I saw a former intern on that show who I got to know put it this way, and I thought it was perfect. Terry Boers was larger than life. And if you met him, literally, like, you're looking up at him. Very tall man. He was there when 670 The Score, it was the Chicago sports station taking after WFAN in New York, one of the earliest sports stations in the country. And now they were going to try it in Chicago. Ends up being a massive success. He was on the air in day one, and he was on the air until 2017 when he retired because he's dealing with a lot of health issues. And it didn't just pop up then. It was going on for quite some time, unfortunately. Like, if you were a regular listener, he was missing a lot of time, but he was trying to fight through it. And, I spent 20 years at The Score, loosely associated with The Score. Like, I'm still on there as an expert, but I started as an intern in 2002. And when I got that internship, that's all I wanted. I was like, this is it. This is how I get in, because I still remember the day my dad comes home. It's January 2nd, 1992. The Score is starting. He's like, that all sports radio station started, and he turned it on. And we would listen all the time. And my favorite show when it started was the Heavy Fuel crew. And that was Terry Boers and Dan McNeil. And then after that, my favorite show was Boers and Bernstein. Terry was on both of my favorite shows.
Yeah.
I truly believe he was the best to ever do this. And he could do anything. He would entertain the hell out of you. He would have strong opinions. He is as likable of a person on the air as I've ever seen in my years. And I think that's the most important thing in this business. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think the audience has to like you. Now, some people get by on the hatred and they hate listen and all that, and that works for some people. But I think at some point that wears thin and people move on and they just can't take it anymore. And the hate listening only goes so far. I mean, Tom Joyce was setting up the internships, and I remember he was like trying to talk me into WGN, and like, they pay you at WGN. I don't care. I want to get in The Score. And I was hoping to get on Boers and Bernstein. I didn't. And what ended up happening is I get an internship on the Mike North Show. Another guy, larger than life. I mean, this guy was making 7 figures as a radio host in Chicago. And it ended up being the best thing for me, for my career, because I don't know that I'm getting hired if I end up interning for Boers and Bernstein. But that was the hope. But obviously I'm cool with that. And, Mike got me hired, and I'm forever grateful for that. But, you mentioned a few of the things. Lawrence, who was on the show last Sunday night, Lawrence Holmes of 670, the score after that Bears loss to the Rams. We had Lawrence on, and he coined the nickname Uncle Terry for Terry Boers. And I thought that was perfect because, he is your favorite uncle. Everybody has a favorite uncle that at the family parties, they just want to hang around and they want to hear him tell stories, and they're going to swear and they're going to drink, and you just want to hang out with that guy. He's probably got some action on the sporting event that he's talking about, and he's ripping on everybody. Like that's Terry. That's who you want. You want to be around that guy. And you're right. Like, no matter what he did, he was so fucking funny. No matter what he did. You mentioned the noises, and I was thinking about that. Like, he could say nothing. He could give you a look and make you bust out laughing. He could just make a noise. He had this uncanny ability to come up with the funniest nicknames, something I've always been jealous of. I'm bad at coming up with nicknames. I wish I could do that, especially with a team of young players. But, nowadays it's like, is that acceptable? Can you even say that? That didn't fly with Terry. There was none of that. Like, a lot of the things that he would say, there's no chance that he could say that on the air. Like, he would call it douchebag Tuesday. Like, he would say whatever the hell comes to mind. He was a gambler. He would play the horses, longtime horse guy. And so he's got that angle too, which we can relate to. It's funny because I'm thinking about the long shots we're talking about with the Patriots and the Seahawks meeting in the Super Bowl and Indiana winning the championship. Because if you would like make a pick or say you like something, because he's talking to everybody. Who do you like? Who do you like? If you give the obvious answer, oh, you would, you chalk playing bastard. But I like just some of the stuff that ended up being like the longest bits. Like, I'm sure you heard of Larry Horse. There was a caller one day that was like talking, I think, to Dan, and he mentioned your co-host Larry Horse, and then it became a thing. And he would bring it up with interviews, like MLB managers, like, my guy Larry Horse says this. What do you think about that? It's like crazy. Like, Robert Feeder wrote a column about somebody in the media who's Chicago Sun-Times media critic, and they were talking about their wife. And their wife's name was Peach. And he thought that was the funniest fucking thing. So then every time he for like 10 years, whenever he referred to his wife on the air, he called her Peach. Like, everything like just would become a bit. I don't know. Do you remember when the Bears-Ravens game, the power goes out? And it was a crazy storm downtown Chicago. And whoever the meteorologist, Ed Curran maybe on CBS, whoever the meteorologist was, they kept breaking it. Like, we don't know how long the game's going to be suspended. But this guy, Ed Curran's like, go to your basement. He's like trying to scare people, like the Boston area meteorologists are doing to you right now. And he's like, if you're worried about any flying debris, put a book on your head. So like for a year, Terry would talk about putting a book on his head, and one day he did an entire show with a book on his fucking head. Yeah, the guy was just a riot. Like, he did TV, he did it all, man. He was a Sun-Times columnist. Before that, he was a Bulls beat guy. He was covering Jordan, like traveling with Michael Jordan, like in the very early days. And like, if you look up some of his old columns in the Sun-Times, there's nobody that has the balls to write what he wrote back then. Nobody. And he's doing it with people that he sees on a regular basis.
I saw one of his leads to a story because, everybody was putting their thoughts out. Goff had some really good tweets. Tanny Speaks. Tanny wrote up a nice story on the score, and he actually kind of went behind the curtains about the Captain Indestructo nickname, which I never knew the background to that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that, which was crazy to find out. but Cody Westerland put a column from Boers up when Trestman got fired. or was about to get fired. He wasn't fired yet. And the story starts this way. I'd rather be eaten alive by an anaconda than watch another Bears game. That's how the story starts. Yeah. And then it continues. The next paragraph continues. Or waterboarded for weeks by CIA operatives, or surrounded by a pack of hungry hyenas on the Serengeti, or treat Ebola patients while wearing shorts and a t-shirt, or clean up toxic spills with a toothbrush. He hasn't even mentioned Mark Trestman yet. It just those are all the things he'd rather do than watch the Bears. And that humor definitely came across on the radio for sure.
No doubt. I know you wanted to, you asked me, like, you have a Boers story. I'm like, where do I begin?
You just gave a ton.
Yeah. I mean, I have a lot of other connections. I didn't work with him on a daily basis. I would fill in, but of course we would see each other. He would talk to everybody. That one thing I respect about Terry more than anything is, like, this guy, like I mentioned, larger than life. And I think this is a lesson that we all can learn. Like, he was a star, right? He's a celebrity. And he didn't have to be like this, but he was. He would make a point to talk to everybody who's young. Like, if you've been around a radio station, a lot of young people, all the interns, people in promotions, stuff like that, he would always encourage the people, especially like for me, and Jason Goff would say the same thing, Matt Abatacola, anybody who came up in that era at the Score. And he would, like, diminish what he can do on the air. And he would always encourage people, and no, you're good. You do that. You're the future of this station. We need you. Like, he didn't have to do that shit. And that's the kind of guy he always was. I became friendly with one of his sons, Terry Boers, one of his twins. I got to know a little bit. Really, really cool guy. Would always listen to me. We would end up talking a lot about fantasy. And actually, one of his daughter-in-laws teach my kids, taught Jack last year, teaches Emma now. So, like, because we live in the same area now. So, yeah, it's certainly a lot of different connections to Boers. Here's one for you. All right. So when I started off as a producer, I would executive produce Mully and Hanley, which was 10 to noon. And that's a 2-hour show. So you got to do a little bit more than a 2-hour show in addition to your duties of booking and all that, and the editing and all that. So I had to hang around, and I would, like, associate produce. I'd basically answer the phones for the Mike Murphy show from noon to 2, Chicago time. And Boers and Murph hated each other. Murph couldn't laugh at himself. You've got to have thick skin, and you got to be able to laugh at yourself in this business and make fun of yourself, because if not, people are going to see that and they're just going to go and go and go. And, like, Terry made a couple comments like in the 90s, and Murph was still upset about it because, like, he would just say the weirdest things during interviews. And one of them, he was at a Cubs convention. He was talking to, like, some of the Cubs from the 60s. He's like, "Oh, hey, after the game, what do you guys do after the game? You soaping up in the showers together?"
I knew you were going to tell this.
Never let him forget it.
But Boers would have you guys. Boers would
on Fridays for some reason, and Murph got me to show him where the speakers were to the bathrooms. So, like, he thought he was getting back at Terry big time, because what he would do on Fridays is he'd run into the area, it's called the mainframe, and he'd turn the volume all the way down so that when he took a piss on the way out the door on Fridays, he didn't have to listen to Boers and Bernstein, usually making fun of him in the first couple minutes of the show. Like, and they would kind of cross paths, but not really. Like, Murph would run out of the studio so he wouldn't accidentally see Terry or Dan or whatever. It was just a very weird situation. So one day, Murph's had enough. Like, he's had it. I'm gonna get him. I think this is what's going through his mind. I think this is what's happening. So his show ends. He does not run out the studio like he normally would. Stays in the studio. Bernstein walks in by himself. He's like looking at him. What the fuck is happening here? No idea. Didn't say anything because they didn't really talk either. So by proxy, I mean, Murph hated Bernstein because, Bernstein would make fun of him as well. So they didn't really talk. They're about to go on the air. And Bernstein was like, I don't know what this guy's doing, but he didn't say anything. Murph goes in the corner of the studio. Like, this is my day. This is it. I'm going to punch the bully in the mouth. I think he was going in the corner to attack Boers when he walked into the studio. So he's sitting there cowering. He's waiting and waiting and waiting. And they start the show. And then you hear over the speakers Terry's voice. This is radio's best combination of riddlin', diddlin', and country fiddlin'. Because he would make up ways to say jerking off. That he was very creative in that way. And then Murph storms out because then he fucking realized, oh, Terry's at home. Terry's doing the show from home. So that was an unbelievable moment. There were a lot of them, but that was awesome as well. I think there were attempts over the years to try and make amends. Like there was a reunion show with B&B. I want to say like Murph's the only one. He just had he never returned a call, no interest there. But there was mutual hatred, both sides there. I didn't have a lot of problems with Murph, but there are a lot of people that did.
I heard plenty of drops over the years because whenever Murph would say something weird, which happened all the time, they would just cut it and they would play it back because you'd have the guy on the soundboard who could just hit the button and they were talking. Anytime they bring up the word shower, they'd be, oh, the soaping in the shower.
Hey. Yeah. He was good to me. He didn't mind me, probably because I'm white, but give you an idea. But yeah, it was it's crazy times. It's not like that anymore. It's not like the old days. Obviously, a lot of us have been thinking back to those days, and I know the Score is going to do something. I've heard at some point there's going to be a celebration of life. I don't know when that's going to be. And I'm sure the Score is going to cover a lot of it in the upcoming week. If you listen to Terry growing up, like both of us did, I'll certainly be listening because I can't get enough of those stories. The man was awesome. And his legacy will live on. And if you take one thing away, if you were able to indulge us, especially if you don't know who I'm talking about, plenty of stories out there if you want to read them. I suggest you do so. Go to YouTube, look up Boers and Bernstein, and you're going to run into a lot of things, a lot of very funny things.
The best call is, in my opinion, is when the guy called the general contractor and he calls in and says he can name 10 players better than LeBron. And it's because Goff is literally fighting this guy on the radio because they get through the first 3 or 4 guys. And then I think his name was Jeremy, the general contractor, who kept calling him weatherman, Tom Skillen, remember? And then the 5th guy that this guy named, Luol Deng. And Boers just loses it. Boers goes like, ah! Like Boers is like, yeah. So Goff's like, name 5 more. And then they go, Brandon Roy, like better than LeBron.
Yeah, Brandon Roy.
Oh my God. It's 12 minutes long, I think. It is one of the funniest phone calls you'll ever hear in radio.
I'm sure you'll find it if you look it up. We'll tweet it out if not. But the funny part to me, and I don't know if I always felt this way, I'm like, they played off each other perfectly, and they would always push the envelope. They would absolutely, both of them, cross the line sometimes, but they would always push the envelope. And the funny thing to me is that the takeaway from a lot of listeners was Dan Bernstein's such an asshole. Fuck Dan Bernstein. Love Terry Boers. But if you actually break down who said what, Terry was just as mean as Dan on the air, but he did it with a laugh, with a chuckle, and he's so likable, which I mentioned why that's a very important characteristic, and I don't I think we all would agree that Birdsee's not the most likable guy. And I think Dan would tell you back in those days, he was not the most likable person. But it's funny to me, like people blame Dan for everything that was bad and negative on that show, when a lot of times it was Terry pushing people in that direction.
Yeah, because Terry did it with a smile, and
Yep.
Terry was also willing to make fun of himself. And that opens up the doors for, a lot more likability, if you know what I mean.
Yep. No doubt about it. So, what I try to do is keep things light, and he always kept things light, and that's important. It's fucking sports, and it ain't all that serious. And when you have to do the serious stuff, do the serious stuff. But in sports, that isn't the case all the time. All right, so looking ahead, so we're thinking have a show ready for the people on YouTube on Wednesday evening and Thursday morning on the podcast.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I wanted to just check one more time, since this is a fluid market, of course, and they just listed the kick time at 6:30 p.m. Eastern on Sunday, February 8th. 4.5 and 5 still. More 5 than 4.5. So a lot of those 4.5s have turned into 5s. Seattle favored at New England. The total 46.5 now at a few shops. The consensus number is still about the same, 46. I think we should go through that prop packet on Wednesday and have that ready to go Wednesday night, Thursday morning.
Finally diving into some college basketball. How about you? Just a
Illinois.
little bit.
Illinois.
Big win. Yeah, that was a big win the other day. Huge win. Man, it's remarkable how many teams just don't have any blemishes still at this point, this far into the season. Like I was watching Nebraska, they were losing early in that game, or it was tight, and then they just broke away midway through that second half.
Yeah, and they're playing tomorrow. I want to say Michigan and Nebraska has a line of 11 or 12, which I think a lot of people are a little surprised by. If you know anything about Michigan and Nebraska, the power ratings are telling you a story there. I believe that game, I saw a tweet about it. I don't know if it's Monday or Tuesday, but there's going to be a big number on Michigan against Nebraska, even though Nebraska is projecting to be a 1 seed right now in the big tournament. So that'll be a number that makes people go,
Yep, no doubt about that. If you have not, subscribe to YouTube. The numbers are telling us you're watching, but not everybody is subscribing. So make sure you subscribe to the show. Give us a thumbs up. Check us out on Instagram, betchickendinner, Twitter, betchickendinner. Give us a rating, review, comment, review, whatever. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and then get yourself some merch. I got my mug. I'm hoping for the show we record on Wednesday, I'll at least have a shirt or a hoodie.
Well, keep it up. Keep supporting the show. Joe mentioned about the subscribes and the follows. Get a hoodie. It's cold. You're going to be shoveling for another month. Get that hoodie. Throw it up when you're out there shoveling. It's a nice hoodie. I promise.